the most noble human feeling is love. It ensures the survival of the human species but is also influenced by a variety of factors. Because of this, we don't fall in love with everyone. So who do we fall in love with? What is the purpose of love? Does love have an expiration date? Is there such a thing as love at first sight? In this video, we will provide a scientific explanation of love as well as an intriguing formula for living love more elegantly and deeply. Love is experienced in the frontal lobe part of the brain. Love is a feeling of well-being and happiness. Love is not eternal and can come to an end. The brains of men and women exhibit quite distinctive characteristics when it comes to experiencing love. We fall in love with people we know well and see frequently. So why are there bad relationships? Here are some concerns you could have regarding love. Why does love exist? The question of why we have the feeling of love is actually a question that has been answered from an evolutionary point of view. We fall in love because we have to reproduce. It may seem like a very rude and flat statement, but the origin of this feeling is based on the instinct to reproduce and maintain our species. It is well recognized that living organisms can continue to exist and undergo evolutionary change if they can best adapt to changing environmental conditions. Because of this, the only reason we fall in love is to preserve the survival of our living species. In other words, love is merely a biological activity and has no connection to anything supermaterial. The primitive brain enjoys social interaction, monogamy, and even more so, the opposite sex, because it has a natural desire to reproduce. As a result, more hedonies and joys are experienced in the early phases of love. However, tolerance develops through time, and love transforms into affection. Oxytocin, vasopressin, and dopamine. Vasopressin and oxytocin are two hormones that assist humans and around 3% of other animal species in maintaining a monogamous relationship. Vasopressin and oxytocin are two hormones that are connected to our capacity to remember and identify other individuals. Like dopamine, it is also released during sexual activity. Dopamine produces sensations of pleasure and happiness. The hormone oxytocin is associated with commitment. Vasopressin increases social prejudice and commitment. The interaction of these three substances results in a learned habit that produces our connection to our partner. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter molecule. We experience happiness when we are in love because of dopamine. The neurotransmitter oxytocin, on the other hand, ensures long-term partnerships and motivates devotion even after a romantic engagement has ended. It is believed that irregularities in the oxytocin level are the biological origins of issues in relationships and divorces. A significant amount of oxytocin is released during sexual activity. This suggests that romantic love and sexual sex have evolutionary connections. Vasopressin, like oxytocin, is a hormone that helps us to build a sense of commitment as well as differentiate and recognize people in social situations. When is this going to happen? Is there a time limit on love? The love life lasts 18 or 24 months. One of the most wonderful human emotions is love. Here are the fundamental drives that shape our tastes: eating, drinking, violence, and sexuality. The desires of the animal brain are for those things. But there is still another aspect of us: we have a brain cortex. How then does the cortex grow? With education, links between the cortex, limbic system, and animal brain are beginning to develop. So, people enjoy more than simply having sex, they also enjoy philosophy, science, art, and culture. As a result, human pleasure circuits differ from those of the animals at this time. So how does love start? Who does a person fall in love with? A person first develops feelings for someone who is close to them. For example, the more you see someone, the more you like them. Why? Because you become accustomed to it. The more time you spend with someone, the more you will love them. Then, constant familiarity is the first component of love. Isn't that how Tinder marriages work? You meet someone you don't know at all, get to know them, and eventually fall in love with them. Who do we therefore fall in love with? People we see frequently. To your co-workers, to the people surrounding you, to your assistant, to your neighbor, to the people you are always with. It is comforting to frequently see something. Second, the similarity in attitude and character. This is crucial, because both parties get along quite well when their character traits and attitudes are comparable. They both enjoy drinking coffee, seeing movies, and other things. The third is a former life similarity. It's as if they both grew up in the village, both assisted their parents in difficult circumstances, or both grew up in the city. Physical resemblances are among the most crucial factors. For example, they are both around the same height. These marriages are successful if their temperaments are compatible. There is also something else that is really intriguing. A person grows to trust someone more and more when he shares his secrets with them. The trust and love components grow as you share more with someone. This is the oxytocin hormone. The oxytocin hormone helps a person feel connected and keeps him from becoming afraid of others. Libido or love? So there is no such thing as love at first sight? Love is not something that happens instantly. Love is something that happens over time. It does not happen instantly. The attraction of that person is a temporary condition. Hence, it is libido. Libido is also present in the primitive brain, sometimes known as the pleasure brain. Suddenly, the sex drive increases, the libido increases, and he feels sexual desire. But love is something else. If we continue with the subject of who we fall in love with, we say we fall in love with people who are close and familiar to us, as well as those who are approachable. Thus, we avoid falling in love with those who live far away. We want it within our grasp because we want to touch it. We love people that make us laugh. We are naturally afraid of someone we have just seen because we do not know him. We don't know if it will hurt us or not. But the more we talk, the more we begin to trust the other person as he opens up to us. That's why we trust people who talk a lot and who tell us about themselves. And if it makes us laugh, it creates more confidence. These give us the signal that that person is safe. We see and love him a lot. Is there a formula for love? The formula for love is confidence, oxytocin, and a dash of obsession. While oxytocin makes people feel very good, it also increases stress hormones. People start saying what if because they are afraid of losing. In other words, trust and insecurity exist together. Love is both a stress reliever and a source of stress. This is how it spins inside itself. Similar to yin and yang. That intense love is really stressful and lasts for 24 months. As a result, we fall in love through strengthening the relationships that can lead to our reproduction and considering the children who will be born as a result of the relationships we maintain. In other words, in order for our species to survive. All of the processes described above, as well as all emotions, take place completely in the brain. However, love is not a sensation that occurs in the heart. Love is a perception, a secretion, or a warning that occurs in the brain. These changes may affect other organs of our body, such as the muscles, intestines, and heart. In other words, we fall in love with our brains, not our hearts. Now, if there are any topics you'd like me to cover, write them down and I'll put them on my priority list. If you like my video, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel. Stay well, stay healthy. See you on better days.